Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. I'm Matt with Option Omega, and this video is a little different. Do a quick intro for you so you know what you're expecting, because this is like a half hour long and it may not be everybody's cup of tea. Option Omega's been around for over 3 years, and we're probably most known for SPX 0DTE backtesting and automation. And that's probably what we're most known for, but we're also really well known in the community for doing backtests with time spreads, single calendars, double calendars, single diagonals, double diagonals. And we have a lot of newer people who have never been exposed to this, who ask really frequently, could you do a video where you go through and explain like how you set up a backtest for a double calendar? And we've done a bunch of these, but we hadn't done one in a while, and we have a bunch of new people who asked for it. So that's what this video is. We're going to take this backtest and chop it up on the OO show in the next couple days. And if you don't know what the OO show is, it is our daily show during market days that you can watch right here on our YouTube channel. You can stream it on X, and we chop up backtests every day. So jump on in, the water's warm, and thanks for checking out this video. All right, we got a fun one today. We are going to look at a double calendar. And what we're going to do is we're going to take an old backtest from 2022. Somebody asked us on the Discord if there are many double calendar traders, and there are. Let's take a look at this old backtest. Now, this is from the infancy of OO. We'd only been out a couple months. The backtester had a bunch of things that it didn't have back then. And if you can see, this is a very simple test. It doesn't really have any rails, and it's putting it on at 3:55 in the afternoon on Wednesday and then exiting on Thursday at 9:45. So you're in it for about 20 minutes. And as you can see, when people talk about 2022 with a gleam in their eyes, you can see why. This is crazy. This is a crazy test. It had a 9% capture rate, but it also won nearly all the time. So the winners were bigger than the losers, and you barely had any losers, 29 out of 31. Let's take a look at this old chestnut, and let's do this. Let's run it year to date. And I think it's going to be pretty bad. And here's the thing. I don't even really like this backtest because we're missing slippage. So let's beat it up. Let's do 10 cents on both entry and exit. And we'll run it again and see what it looks like year to date. So yeah, not great. That slippage actually shows you how important slippage is, you know, that hurt it. And let's see, we have one wide bid ask spread here. Probably pretty legit pricing though, looks about right if you look at the graph. So let's spend a minute and try to see what we can do with this. The first thing is, just to make this more congruent with some of our modern tests, we're going to change allocation to 10%. Okay, so that will impact here. We'll run it as a baseline for that. That's going to impact everything, the MAR, the CAGR, etc. Okay, there we go. So we've only won a third of the time. And when I look at this, there's so much I would change today. So let's just do it. The first thing is, let's think about the entry. Let's give it some more time. And let's try the same thing we just did on the last video. We're going to give it a longer entry time. So we'll do 12:30 as the end of the window. Actually, this original test had 3:55. So we'll do the same thing. We'll do 3:55, and let's use a trigger of the VIX moving down by 1%. Okay. And so we don't want to do too many iterations at once. Let's just run that and see what it takes us and see how we like it. All right. So it's basically this is a broker test. Who loves it? The broker. Why? You don't lose all your money, but you don't really win. You keep trading. Wins half the time. You know, the winners and losers are about the same. Still, it's not great. What else can we do with this? The first thing I would do is 2022 was a really unique time with the vol for DCs. Let's do away with the profit target. What? Can do away with it. That's also going to clean up the Punisher a little bit here. And actually, why don't we make these? We vary the fees on tests. Why don't we do $5 for entry and exit on the commission, and then let's add some deltas. So these are going to be safety rails. You can do this a couple different ways. Deltas are dynamic. They consider time. You can also exit using an underlying like this right here. And as a matter of fact, I'll run this here. So this is going to exit when you're 10 points past the underlying. Did it not trigger any? Didn't really change the test much. Let's try delta exits instead. So we're going to add a couple leg deltas. and we're going to do puts and calls. The shorts, a lot of people use like somewhere between 60 and 70 on these, depending on what contest. Let's just try it like this. So this will get us out when the leg deltas are violated. And in looking at this, yeah, it probably we're only in it for 20 minutes. So we've got our leg deltas in. Let's change this exit time. We're going to do an exit time. It's 0 DT by default. I can put the 0 in. And let's do 355. Now, let's try this. And then I'll talk about the whole 355 exit thing, because there's some real life considerations. Okay, there we go. I mean, not great. Not great, Bob. Not great, Bob.
How are you? Not great, Bob.
But it's functional. I mean, your small sample size. We can actually, if we want, we can run this since Dailies. The floating entry backtests do take a while because you're literally scanning across the entry conditions, which in this case is pretty much most of the day. So it's going to take a minute for this backtest to run, but this will see how this is done since Dailies. And basically in 2022, having a profit target, oh, well, hey, this is actually like not that bad. You know what I'm immediately realizing is our capture rate. And I haven't pre-run this test. Maybe I should have. Our capture rate is more than that original backtest. You still win most of the time. And here's what's nice. You're going to win a little over half the time. At least this backtest did. Who knows what will do in the future? We have no idea. And the average winner was bigger than the average loser in the backtest, which is good to see. What else do we want to do? Maybe we should sort by losers, because what we have right here is this is pretty low delta, what a lot of people would consider 15 delta low delta. And our only exits are the time and the leg deltas. So there is the potential for getting vol crushed or dead in the middle of the tent, as people say, because there's a profit tent for DCs. We have a lot of content on DCs. You can go check it. So let's look at this. Like exit at specified time is still the most common thing. So I think what we would want to do, man, look at this. 5-point move. This is after Christmas. You know, I don't know if a lot of people would be trading that, but what you can see, this is a visual demonstration of the tent of doom. Okay. You can see that actually the VIX didn't really change as much. There's a low VIX environment, sub 13 VIX environment, which is crazy. And the trade was expensive and it literally just died. It just died, which a lot of people black out holiday weeks, but it helps you to see how it dies sometimes. Let's look at this. Okay, so this one actually had a little moment of glory here. It had a little bit of here we go. It went on this underlying pump. It was probably long delta. And let's see how much these other tests had movement before exits. So that was like a 30-point move, man, 11-point move. Okay, let's try something to maybe cut out those real extreme losers that where the tent sagged. We can try short long ratio. Let's try 0.05. That's a pretty low short long ratio, and it's just the math, the shorts divided by the longs. So in a double calendar, again, I'm not going to cover all of this in this video, but double calendars can be visualized with two profit tents, and then a tent sag in the middle is often the tent of doom or the spot that you don't want the calendar to finish in. Here's what's interesting. That actually made it worse, which is crazy. Man, that's wild then. Okay, I do probably want to skip the wide bid asks as well right there. And I'm looking to see what else. You know, another way we can do this is try to make it a little more bullish without, let's try tweaking. 20 delta is a very common OG delta that folks would use for back tests. Let's see if we can tweak that at all. And again, this is highly customizable. The back tester doesn't have to be 10% at $100,000 evaluation. The reason I put that in there, you can feel the drawdowns a little bit. Like, yeah, a lot of people are not actually trading 10% on a $100,000 account to prove out the point. And we'll come back and look at this. If you cap it at one contract, it's going to change everything, but you're not going to have the extreme of the drawdown, I would wager. Let's see. I'm running this for the first time myself. So we had a 17.9% drawdown with 10% uncapped. So to put that into real terms, I mean, that's a pretty big drawdown. A lot of people wouldn't be able to handle. Here we go. Okay, so this shows you kind of, even though it's been positive every year, including this year, the trade was in a drawdown the end of September and March, and it just had a really nice winner, I'm thinking. It did have a really nice winner. Let's check this out. That's why DC people are, oh yeah, look, you can see exactly what happened. I mean, the graph gives you the story. Let's take VIX off. So here's what happened. Put on for 12 bucks. The underlying was at 6,300, moved down about 50, but then, this is why some people really like DCs. It moved right at the end and went off a cliff. So we went from 55 down to 30 in 10 minutes. So yeah, if we add VIX back in, let's add VIX back in. Let's take this off. Look, here's another way to model this or visualize it. We're not modeling it. We're just visualizing what happened. You can see spike in VIX, underlying literally takes the elevator down. What happens to the trade? Bazinga.
Bazinga!
There it goes. There it goes. I wonder if on this low of a let's see which one was our best one. The capped one was obviously lower. Like I said, you can see the difference. Look, if we cap it, this is the cap. This is without the cap. Cap, no cap. Cap, no cap. And I think, is this the one we had? Okay, so this has the short long ratio is, man, it makes it worse at a 0.05. Let me see what this one had. Okay, so this is probably the highest MAR we've had. We've got 10%. So there's no profit target. And we can try with a profit target. If I'm going to put one on, a lot of times I'm going to put on a really high one in this back test because it does hit it. And it's okay that it doesn't hit it a lot. It hits 80. I wonder if 80 is going to make it better or worse. I don't have to wonder. Here's what I'm going to do. Boom. And then I'm going to add some Punisher, obviously. I'm going to cap the non-opening profits. Also going to require 2 hits at the profit target. Those, if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go watch Backtesting Bootcamp or the Punisher video. Ideally, there's a bespoke Punisher video in Backtesting Bootcamp that covers this exact thing of why, if you're using a profit target, you will have a more robust backtest if you choose cap non-opening profit targets and require 2 hits. Let's see. So the MAR went down a little bit, but not much. Where was I think this is the other one. So 12%, their capture rates up a little bit, win rates up a little bit. Okay, so this just cuts your CAGR a tiny bit with the profit target. Like what's interesting is, let's go up to 90. What's interesting is that you have a calendar that can get there. You know, a lot of people back in the day would have 15, 20% profit targets, myself included, on double calendar back tests. And a lot of times, you know, it can do even more than that. Okay, so here we go. So I 90%, this is getting a little nice. It's a little nice. So we're triggering on the VIX move down. Just to be real, this is going to be really difficult to do unless you're automating a back test. If you wanted to trade something similar to this, because it's floating all day and you're looking at a VIX down move to trigger it. Let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just take the down move off. Because there's a couple ways we can look at this. So this is going to, let me also take the floating time off. We'll just do that early morning again. That's fine. Which actually, we could have a whole thing about the time because the original backtest was on late in the day. This is early in the day, so you're going to be exposed to basically a whole nother day of movement, but also a whole nother day of possibly theta burning off. So DCs are tricky animals. All right, there we go. Wow. It always surprises me when things, I try to do this, like genuinely give you a reaction to a backtest I haven't seen before. I have not seen this backtest before. And the MAR went up. The win percentage is about the same. The capture rate actually dipped a little bit, which just goes to show you that there are some crazy winners out there. If we look at it, how many times has it hit the profit target? I mean, listen, that's like a non-zero amount. We only have 150 trades, but it does hit 90% sometimes. Here's a wide bid-ask spread. I think this probably actually is legitimate based on the day. Yeah. Oh, this is the, I think this is the infamous, let's take VIX out. Yeah, look what happened. This is when, so it's, this graph is so distorted because we had such an insane move. So we started at 50.30 and it ended, here, I'll just look on here. It ended at 52.20. Jeez. Oh man, April was wild. So that, if you see something like this and you don't know what to do with the wide bid-ask spread, I mean, the system is signaling you can ignore it if you want. See if any others have it. But I think that was a legitimate price because that was April 9th. If you know, you know. Oh man, we got to do something about this maybe, huh? This is what I'm talking about with the 10 sag. This is the opposite problem. 54.25 moved 10 points, day and a half. And you just got destroyed. So is there a way to eliminate this exit? Probably there is. Let's continue to look for wide bid asks. We might have just had that one. Yeah, I don't overly think about one trade. If I feel like it's skewing the backtest, I might black that day out. I don't think it is in this case. I think that was legit. It just it was a crazy day. Here's another crazy day where we moved 13 points. So this is a risk. The 15 delta, you can lose in a vol crush pretty bad. Maybe we can do a VIX 9-day move down. Let's see, like it's 2 days. I'm just going to try 20%. So right now we're at a 56% win rate, 3.7 MAR. Winners are bigger than, this is here. You're going to win about half the time. At least this backtest won about half the time. I have no idea what it's going to do in the future. So this backtest has won in the last 3 years, wins a little over half the time. But the average winners are significantly bigger than the average losers. So are the maxes. There is overnight risk because you're holding this from Wednesday into Thursday. Not all the time, but some of the time. Man, that's so crazy. It's like it makes everything worse with that rail. Let's try a couple more. The VIX 9-day moving down is one way you can quantify a 10 sag. Let's just give it 15% because 15% is a good move down in VIX. And we're already, remember, we were entering when VIX is moving down. Now we're just entering at 932. So we'll do a 15% VIX move down. And again, worse. Man, I'm going to have to throw this out to the chat on the OO show. If you're not aware of the chat or the OO show, this is our daily YouTube show. Runs Monday through Friday on market days. We chop up backtests every show. Like that's what we do. So this one, let's do a high level review. Opening at 932. And here's what you can do. You can test around. Let's do a 937. Just to randomize a little bit. See if there's a magic minute, which I would be shocked if there's a magic minute. I would be shocked if there's a magic minute in this backtest setup. Made it a little bit better, but really the win rate and the capture rate are about the same. MAR is actually can be kind of a sensitive way to measure. So I'm taking the MAR into the account, but I'm also looking at the capture rate. Again, a 9% capture rate. You've got slippage on both. You've got a target. You've got rails. The only thing you don't have is these. You have these losers where you just don't get movement. Here's the thing. That was a 3-point move, and we can try a short long, but it didn't seem to make it better. Maybe we should try more extreme short long because we're holding it so late in the day. Let's do like 0.03. So this is going to simulate exiting when all the juice is basically burned out of the shorts. Like 0.03 is a pretty low short long ratio if you think about it, that you're allowing the backtest to get to before it exits. Okay, let's see. Man. Okay, so capture rate is lower. Kagger is lower. Wow. The drawdown's lower. Man, this is kind of baking my noodle a little bit. Because you have these days here's another one. It gets some pretty gnarly losers. This is a pretty gnarly loss. If you're trying to visualize, if you're going to trade this live at size, this is got to negative 40% at one point. And it does do that. Here's 145. And again, this one just got absolutely mauled. Here's another absolute destruction. See, look what's happening. You put it on, you're in the middle of the tent, and you get 15 points of movement. The one thing we could do, let's just try this change. We'll try putting a 20 delta on the put. So the put's going to be a little closer to money, which it kind of skews this a little bit more bullish and gives you less opportunity to get 10 sagged a little bit better. MAR, a little bit better win percentage. Capture rate dropped a little bit. Maybe we should try one more. Try 25. This is a lot of ways. There's a lot of levers to pull. At this point, I'm just trying to pull one lever at a time and see what the impact has. But again, Backtester is running 3 years of checking every minute on Wednesdays. So it's going to take a minute. Made it worse. What it was, is this our best? I think it is. 8.9% PCR is a little off the top. I mean, I think this one right here is probably the best one, whatever we did, even though the MAR's a little bit lower. So what did I have on this? Leg deltas, 355. Oh, this is the 90%. Okay, we still have the 90% on there. 3.1. Here's the 4.3 MAR. Yeah, this is the 2015 delta. So skewing it a little bit. Oh, we messed with the time. So this is going on. I mean, here's the thing. We've only had daily options, which means Thursday 0DT SPX since 2022. I mean, you can see the math. We're right at about 3 years. We do have exact DTE checked, so it's going to skip some of those holiday weeks. We could actually probably make this backtest even more green by skipping short weeks. Let's just look at losers. Might have to do some more rigorous backtesting of these losers because as I'm looking through them, so the time exit, again, these are all basically 10 sag losers, 7 points, 20 points, and it's all relative, right? Like this was barely a loser. Most of them are going to be we'll filter for expired at time. These expire at time are the most susceptible to a 10 sag because you kept it on until 355. Now, let me just speak on this for a second. We have a video with Peter from Tasty Trade. I'll link it in the description. You should definitely watch it because he works for Tasty, a large brokerage, and gives some insight into how they view calendar spreads. But when you're trading single calendars, double calendars, single diagonals, double diagonals, it's important for you as the user to understand how the brokerage views those. We're holding this very late into the day. And there are some brokers that, depending on account size, that they would have feelings on that. So as always, you should know what you're doing. We don't give advice, but you should know what you're doing. So check out that video with Peter. It's pretty helpful. And yeah, these are all kind of tent sag. And I might need to, here's my last thing that we can try is let's look at the opening short long ratios and see if we can see a pattern. Because the other thing we could do is we could have some metric here. So like 0.6 is the highest. They're all below 0.6. There's one here that isn't 0.61. Okay, let's filter everything and let's look at these short long ratios. So I'm going to look at the winners now. So this one with a 0.5, I mean, 0.49, these winners are pretty good. Maybe we could do a very low short long ratio. Like it looks like in the fives. Oh, there's a lot of winners in the fives. Maybe we should try a min short long ratio. We'll go just below it. So like a 0.49. Let's try that. Minimum short long ratio 0.49. Now, this is going to fit the test. Like that's literally what we're doing is we're applying a fit to the curve. So it may or may not make the test better, but it is making it more curve fitted. It's making it have fewer trades. And that didn't move the needle, right? I think this is still the best one. This 4.3 MAR. We've got a lot of iterations of it here. I thought this was going to be a 10-minute video when I started. Thanks for sticking it out. But yeah, I like this backtest to iterate from. It's not quite there yet, but it's got good entry and exit. We've got fees. We have some Punisher, right? It does have a PT. It's got a rail for the leg. It's got an early exit. I wonder what happened. Let me just try this. If we exited like right before power hour, maybe. So we'll try 259. We'll try that. And again, hopefully you're watching me iterate on this backtest, you're getting an idea of how to think about the different things. That makes it worse. Wow. I mean, it doesn't really change the win rate that much, but it has a huge impact on the capture rate, which that's like goes to show you that, let me find our good test again. I think this is the one we like, right? 8.9 capture rate. The last one we ran was 6.6. This one's 11.4. Which one is this? This is maybe the best one here. 937 entry. We've got a little bit higher capture rate, win percent, etc., etc. Yeah. If you want to break it even more, if you want to really break it, I'm going to go into full sandbox exploration here and full port it. Again, I don't think anybody would full port it. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to look and see what it does to the shape of the curve, what it does to your win percent. Your capture rate actually changes a lot. That is interesting. Like, obviously somebody who doesn't know what they're doing may look at this and be like, oh, you turned $100,000 into $21 million. Newsflash, it had an 86% drawdown. That's why you do it. The MAR's higher, but raise your hand, viewer, if you're going to trade through an 86% drawdown. Doubtful. Let's go back to this one. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably talk about this on this show, and we'll kick it out to the show and see if some folks in the chat can maybe help us refine this. For now, let's save this. We'll call it 2025 version of 2022 gem. We'll put this on the OO show. I'll save it. I'll share it. And we'll try to chop it up a little bit more, because I think there's still more to do. As you can see, this year, which has been really good for a lot of calendar people, this is actually having its worst year since Dailies. Let's run it year to date. I know we started out year to date. Coming full circle, viewer. So there you go. Not a great year. Capture rate is way off what it has been. The rest of the metrics, the win percentage was a little bit, you only traded it 20 times, because holidays, et cetera, we're more than halfway through the year, but instead of trading it 28 times or whatever, there's just some Thursday and Fridays that did not have expirations. And again, you could go back through and make this even more robust by putting some blackout dates. So there's an interesting thing on Wednesdays that happens called the FOMC. Be interesting to test these just on FOMC days or skipping FOMC days. Maybe that'll be a future video. But for now, thanks for watching and thanks for sticking it out. Like, subscribe, check us out on the OO show, free YouTube every single day. OptionalOmega.com. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.